time, starting now, right after this small intro.
In compliance with COPA, this video is not for children under the age of 4. Your discretion for advice. Sponsored by Canadian Model Railroad.ca and by the Nations. Further support provided by miniprint.ca. Make your layout come alive with the 3D creation of miniprint.ca. Now on with the show with your hosts, Peter and Joe.
Well, Peter, what time it is?
It's train time.
Wow,
And
you're
we're-
finally here.
I finally get back into the studio.
Wow, I hope you had a nice holidays.
Well, it's been busy. I've been busy on my N scale layout, among other things.
Well, I was busy too, but the 2 months flying solo, I can tell you, was certainly different.
It was different, yeah.
You know, because trying to talk to myself and give myself an answer, that was a comedy in itself. This month and this show, folks, we have to introduce you to a guy named Peter Hess. And I hope I pronounced his name properly, Hess.
Yeah.
What he does, he model an O-scales, and he model a steel mill in O-scale. And more nowadays, the steel industries became very prominent in model railroading, and they are very detailed. Walters are coming with the blast furnace and the blower house and the rolling mills, you know, and so on, and some other people on the 3D printing, which is nowadays 3D printing is a marvelous things for us modelers.
Great tool.
Yeah. So Peter has super detail his blast furnace, his steel mill plant, and that brings us to the fact that we do not necessarily look at the blast furnace and so on from Walters. What we're looking at is the details. And the details are not only as far as the inside of the buildings, right? A lot of modelers will detail on the outside to some extent,
Yep.
but nowadays we got more vehicles, we got more peoples, with the 3D printing, basically unlimited ceiling.
Yeah.
So,
And those are the details that make a difference, too.
well, exactly. So, detailing the scenery itself, we'll talk about it towards the end of the show, but the inside of some of the building that is very close to the fascia make a total difference as far as the view, the looks, and so on, and make a layout come alive. The other part of making a layout come alive is to add the figures and the animals that Bernard Helens do 3D print with miniprint.ca.
Yep.
So if you haven't looked at that web page, I encourage you to go and look at it because it's worthwhile. There's always some new stuff coming in out of there, and it's just beautiful. On the next show, we'll show you the little contest that he has that we would be working on in here. So, Peter, right after this commercial, we'll be back and show you the O-scale steel mill, detail steel mill of Peter Hess.
Okay. Enjoy.
Ever wanted to take a nostalgic trip back to the steam era? Through the Window of a Train is the book for you. Or go back into history with the Memory of the Moonlight specials. Through the Window of a Train for $19.95, or Memory of the Moonlight specials for $21.95, or 4 limited time offers. You can get both books signed for only $39.95 plus shipping. Order now.
Hello, this is Peter Hess from the Toledo Terminal Lines, preparing this video of my blast furnace complex, which is circa 1925 in the Toledo, Ohio area, the Toledo Furnace Company. This is a Ohio type furnace, and I said 1925. And I'm here to show you the complex itself and the details that you can accomplish in the complex. When I say complex, I'm talking about various operations. The blast furnace house, the blower house, the stove complexes, the gas cleaning complexes, and the powerhouse. Let's start with the blast furnace. First of all, this is a 148 old-scale blast furnace, Ohio furnace type. What I've done is detailed the furnace significantly. Here you have the steam-powered drill, the steam-powered mud gun, the slag bot mechanism, and within the cast furnace shop, you can see what I've done is within the runners, lighted those runners with electrochemical lights and detailed the various runner stoppers. Within the blast furnace stack, you can see I put in the various water pipes, in the 4 different shelves or tiers, and have each water pipe going into the water trough. You can see the Bosch. I have 14 tiers in the blast furnace, and I've detailed the blast furnace out of photographs from the making, shaping, and treating of steel, my editions, both in 1974 and 1930. Turning to you can also do a lot in the lighting up of the slag pots and, of course, the hot metal cars. Surrounding the blast furnace, you can see the pipe alley. What I've done is I've put together a steam accumulator little operation, because steam, it was very important back in the 1920s. Remember, 1920s, you have lower powered blast furnace, lower pressure, and the steam and the gas from the ovens go to my power shop. I've not detailed the inside of the power shop with the blowers as of yet. I put together this blast furnace complex in 2013. I was finished with those some years ago. I've also detailed the and motorized the large and small bell levers. That's running on a 4 RPM high torque motor located at the base of the shop. You see, I've detailed the bell tops, the top end of the system very nicely. I've also animated the cables for the skip hoist. As you can see, that's running. It's animated on this tangential, diagonal, and also on the vertical, diagonal. Moving back to the gas cleaning system. Excuse me if there are some, this is under renovation right now, so not all the pipes are put together, but I've done this for the video. You have the 2-pass control electrostatic precipitator that's highly detailed with the goggle valves, the Schneebly wet cap scrubber, and the very low efficiency cyclonic system on the dust catcher. On the stoves, what I've done is, these are 3-pass Ensley stoves that are again fit into the 1920s circuit era here. I've detailed this. This is the, people don't detail a lot, is some of the operations. And again, this is 1920s, before automatic controls. This is the pyrometer valve complex. And this is all scratch made, by the way. And this adds cold air from the blower pipe out of the blower house to mix with the hot air, hot blast going into the blast furnace to keep it at a maximum uniform temperature. Of course, it's all automated now. But what's good is, which we detail, is the pipe alleys. And I think pipe alleys add so much to the construction of a realistic looking blast furnace complex. I've also highly detailed the control valves for the cold blast system going into the stoves, and the 3-pass stoves. Those goes on almost up to the ceiling. I was so limited, but this is 2 scale, 1/48 inch. All this was planned out in about 1985 when I started constructing the Toledo terminal layout. And lastly, what we have is the blower house. If you like automation, a blower house is a place to look for that. What I've done is I forced perspective, so having the viewer look at the look down the entranceway of the blower house in order to see the about 40 moving parts run off of one 9-volt DC high torque motor there. But this all adds to the intrigue of a blast furnace complex. And again, it's called a complex, and there are many portions to the complex. Notice how I put it, I was able to put the details close to the edge of the layout, and doing so people can stick their noses in and look and see all the detail of the blast furnace complex. And it's fun making the details, it really is. It adds to the intrigue, adds to your knowledge, adding pipe alleys like I mentioned, all the detail of a blast furnace complex. And because the blast furnace, quite frankly, is the heart and the soul of the steel mill in your layout. And again, mine is very close to the edge. I like putting my best work up close so people can look at that and detail and say, yes, it looks like this looks real. I want people to look at my complex and say that, gosh, I need a tetanus shot to get in here because it looks so detailed. So again, this is the Peter Hess signing off. Toledo terminal lines, 1/48 scale, old gauge layout in Corte Madera, California.
Okay, very nice video.
Yeah, pretty detailing.
Yeah.
Well, it's a lot of hours in there, and I think he has been very, very dedicated to have as much accuracy
Yeah.
to the steel industries as he could.
Yep.
Sure, on the O scales, he can detail in bigger pieces and so on and so on.
Yeah, I don't know if I'd try that in N scale.
Well, that might be a little difficult, but on the HO it's possible.
Yeah. HO would be good, yeah.
We'll
And-
find out when we put the one upstairs.
I was just going to say, we'll know soon enough when we do it upstairs on the CMR, yeah.
Yeah. So, folks, the next segment is the photo of the month. I hope you will enjoy.
Yes, enjoy. Well, another good photos of the month.
Yeah, we got a good selections in there, and
Yeah.
some of the photographs are just amazing.
And you've got quite a few on file for future months too.
Yeah, matter of fact, yes, we got quite a few, and pretty soon we'll be starting the selections for 2022.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, but
But that's okay.
well, yeah,
Keep
yeah.
sending them in.
These pictures, some of them are better resolution than others.
Mhm.
But when you look at the concept and the sceneries and everything along of that pictures,
Yeah.
it can give you some pretty good idea about modeling.
Yes.
And that's very much so what
Yeah.
these pictures are all about. Now, you got in there, you got pictures that are on a layout, and some were the
The real thing.
the real fanning.
Yep.
So it's a little bit of everything. And pretty soon I saw some where we will have an episode in there that is mainly steam. Another one would be mainly about some train who have derailed. All sort of different pictures are coming in, and we'll have a segment coming in very shortly about Lauren A. Strafford's in his photography.
He's sent in a lot of stuff.
Yes, he does, and we publish it, but we'll have a segment about him and about what's happened with his photography.
Mm-hmm.
In the interim, to keep on going with the show, we'll go to a view from above, courtesy of Dan Shettles.
Well, another good segment.
Yep. All that drone views, I find them just marvelous.
Mm-hmm.
And you get some idea if you want to model the desert and that type of thing. you're right at the right place.
Yeah.
At the same time, I like to give a kudo and a thank you to Dale Shipman, because he's the video that do the introduction on this show is from Dale Shipman. So thanks a lot, Dale.
Yeah.
That's really appreciated. Now, I don't know if ever you have dealt with Grand Central Scenery. That's a company in Mexico, and it's the owner of it is NCDs, and they produce all sorts of scenery materials that we review today.
And we've got a bunch here on the table in front of
we
us.
got them on the front of us. They're specializing on trees and some other aspect of the sceneries. All the trees that they make, it's all handmade. It's not made by machine. It's handmade by their peoples and so on, and then distributed all over the place. They even send some of their trees and scenery material to Europe and United States and Canada and so on. But not too many people probably are aware of Grand Central Scenery, which is, they do some beautiful works. There's no doubt about it. Matter of fact, Andrew Ditto was the founder of the Sceneries, Central Sceneries, and to carry the dream and the legacy of Andrew and his handcraft scenery products came in Grand Central Sceneries. They strive to exceed all the expectations that even the most demanding professional modeler around the world will require. So they're committed to provide their customer with the highest quality standards and in the industries by going above and beyond, their competitor, and they look for customer satisfactions, so that is very important to them. They handcraft those trees and some of the scenic things that they do with meticulous care and attention of details. They got a lot of details on their trees. It's quality product. It's all organic materials. It's from environmental resources to replicate the beauty of the natures. That's what they do, to bring life into any of your projects. So their pride is your satisfaction, the customers, and their motivations come from your support. So the NCDs can be reached at www.grandcentralgems.com. You will see it on the screen, and their phone number is 1-801-891-7255. So feel free to get in touch with them. Their price is really reasonable for that type of a materials, So think about Grand Central Sceneries, and their fantastic work. So on the table in here, we got some.
This is a very interesting tree. I don't know if it'll show up on the camera that well, but the trunk and root system on this is very realistic. I think the only thing that I would do is maybe do a little bit of lighter color weathering on the bark,
Right.
to just highlight it a bit. But other than that, that's like I said, I don't know if it'll show up on the video that well, but this whole root system and trunk really looks natural.
It's a tree that specific trees in there. It's a tree that could be ready to go on the layouts, but also it can be weathered in such a way that it will come along better in your sceneries. we do that with most of our trees. Also, we weather them in such a way that it seems to be there.
Yeah.
You know, and they didn't grow anywhere else. They grow there.
Yeah, like if you look at say these two, I'll just pull them out of this one. They've got the markings on it again. Hopefully it shows up in the video. They've got the markings on the trunk for like a birch tree.
Right.
Now this one is kind of plain, and I would do the same thing with that. As this is do a little bit of weathering on the bark just to highlight it a little bit better. But that's two different examples of what they put out. The other thing maybe is, and I don't know, it's from the packing, is you may want to open these branches up a little bit more.
Yeah.
But certainly a good start to.
They do some also, like this one in here. They do some that is fall
colors. Yeah.
Fall colors. Personally, I really like those fall colors, but the mix is nice.
Yeah.
You know. Sure, when you put it in your layout, depending on what you're doing, you might even temper a little bit the fall colors, because fall colors usually always come in too strong, especially if you do photography. But I will say that their mix right now, as far as those leaves and so on, is right on.
It's good, yeah.
Then if you do any type of modeling somewhere in the desert, they have some beautiful palm trees, and they're very well done. Matter of fact, you know, when I saw that one, even with the little curve on it, when you look at image from there,
makes me think of being in Mexico by the pool.
Yeah. Then you got the Douglas fir that are a little bit further at the end in here. This one I will assume that is an O scale.
Yeah.
Now you look at the branch on those, and the branch is full of little leaves and so on, and needles, and
it's quite detailed.
It's very detailed. Like the other one, it's the trunk itself probably need a little bit of paint.
Yep.
And maybe rough it off so you got a little bit of barks in there. But that is left to the modelers. Now you got the one that will be mainly O scale and scale that are with it.
This set.
I'm talking about those two in here, which is also premium quality as far as trees is concerned. The leaves are very well done on it. You know, it's not overly done, and it's not underly done. It's just right. So those three definitely would be an asset on your layout.
This set I really like. They've done a lot of detailing on the bark, and again, I don't know if it's going to show up, but they've got detail on the trunk, and the branches are spread out. There's even on the one, there's the limb that's been cut off.
Oh yeah.
Very nice detailing.
Those three, matter of fact, would be the perfect tree if you modeled a backyard, you know, where they had plant a tree when they bought the house and that type of thing, and you put one of those, you know, with the rest of the scenery that is applying to the backyard. Those three being perfect because of the height and the symmetry of the tree. Because those three trees in there have a total complete symmetry, and they have the same type of leaves on all the branch. You know, you can see that it's not just foam and that type of thing.
No, they look like leaves.
Yeah, it look really like leaves. Another product that they have is a mat, and that mat, well, you can cut it, and you can shave it, and you can use it either side. One side is like dirt, you know, and the other side is with grass. So you can make some tuff of this here and there, or you can remove some and put a little bit of sand and so on, and finish your ground. As far as ground cover is concerned, the mat is applying exactly the same way that you will use any other mat, but the quality of the grass that is in there is very much so like if you use static grass. And the nice part that I find is many suppliers, they will have a grass mat that would be only that. The back would be, you glue it and that's it. This one, you can use it either side, you know, so you got a bonus in there. If you want a piece that is just like dirt, you can use it just like dirt. If you want a piece of grass, you got a piece of grass. Yeah. So the mat is very well done. On the other side of the table, we also have a mold that you can use for rocks, mainly rock facing and that type.
Again, I don't know if the detail will show up on the camera, but it's all your detailed rock strata.
Yeah.
So you can make you probably use it as is, or use it as a mold to make plaster molds.
Well, that is for plasters that you, mainly if you remember, we used that at the time that, we do it a different way, but if you use that kind of a mold, you put the plaster on and you put it right away to your mountains or where you want to have that rock crop, and after it's started to dry, you just pull it off and so on, and it does the trick. So they have that kind of material too. Another thing that I was absolutely amazed with is their trestle that they got in there. You know, all the bend that they made in there, all made of wood. They're stained already. They preciously aged. Definitely, you probably will age them to the period that you want to have on your layout. But very nice.
Very well done.
Yeah, very detailed. So they carry that type of stuff too, and those bend are not from another manufacturer. They're manufactured by Grand Central. You know, so Grand Central Gems Incorporated. You can reach them at www.grandcentralgems.com, and or you can phone them. You know, at 801-891-7255. You can talk with NCDs. You can also see them with their product on Facebook. So if you put on Facebook Grand Central Gems, you will get directly to that, and you can send message to Nancy Diaz. She's a very nice person to talk to, and she will definitely find what you need for your layout. So kudos to you, Grand Central, to bringing these nice products for the modeler.
Yeah, thank you for sending them to us to have a look at.
Yes, it's just beautiful.
Yeah.
So, Peter, we've been working many different projects.
In our isolation?
Well, on the isolation, all the track have been realigned upstairs.
Yeah. Thanks to you.
Well, I had to do something. Now, thanks to you, you're doing all the leads on them, which is a ton that you already had done.
Now we're redoing them.
We're redoing them. But I think on the Facebook page, we give them a little up view of what right now happening in a very small portion of the layout, which is probably 1.5 feet square.
Yeah.
Maybe a little more.
Nutty Club.
The Nutty Club scene, where you have the yellow warehouse behind, which is another landmark in Winnipeg. And in the front, on the other side of the street, as you can see in the picture that roll, is the Flying Pig Pub and Bar. Well, the flying pig is a 3D print from mini prints.
From mini prints, yes.
You know, we didn't know really what to do with it
With a
because
flying pig, yeah.
yeah, it came in with the month of January, I believe. We had in the club of the month with mini prints. They send you different prints and so on. And one of them had 2 flying pigs. And I said, "What do I do with this?" So it turned out that it became a bar,
Yep.
and the flying pig is there, as you can see. The scene is all illuminated, but really what we want to talk to you about is how to set up a scene,
Mm-hmm.
you know, because that's really what's happening in there.
Yep.
Where all the symmetry of your buildings and other artifacts that you put in are very important to make it look real.
Mm-hmm. Especially if you're doing photography with it.
Yeah, photography and videos and so on. So if you notice through the pictures that are there, you have the flying pigs that is on the aisle side, you know, on the fascia,
Mm-hmm.
is only a half building in there. And behind it, you know, you have the underpass, and you got that street in there. Then you got the Naughty Club itself,
Mhm.
which is the main building of the scene,
Yeah.
right? So it's right there beside the sidewalk, exactly as it's sit in Winnipeg.
Yes.
But behind, you got the yellow warehouse, and the yellow warehouse is a little taller. So if you look at it, it gives you a geometry of your scene that goes from low to a little higher.
Yeah.
Now, whereas the yellow warehouse portion of it is where the trains are at the same level that goes over the underpass.
Mm-hmm.
And the rest of it, with the foundation, is down at the same level
That's the
as-
Nutty Club.
as the Naughty Club. So, by being all light up those buildings, you know, and the pole and so on for the street lights, you have a scene at that point that take your eyes away from only one building. It make your eyes totally look at the whole scene
Mhm.
in general.
Yeah.
Now, beside where's the train?
Yeah.
More than likely would be another building in there
Another small building.
Yeah.
Yeah.
that would be smaller,
Yeah.
but in relations to the rest, so that it will create another symmetry, another element on the layout itself. Now, having said that, that is how you place elements on a layout, looking forward to what would be behind. Because that scene where it is, Peter, is the start of what the downtown of Winnipeg would be,
Winnipeg,
where
right.
all these high-rise would be further behind, and the Portage and Main, which is an intersection that is known probably
Yes.
all around the world. The other portion on that also would go to the other side of the stalled building that would be there is all the condominium on the waterfront
Along the waterfront. That's
beside
right.
the Red River,
Yeah.
and the famous bridge that goes to St. Boniface with a restaurant right in the middle.
Mhm.
So that whole thing together would be complemented, and all the height, if we prefer, and the angle of those
Mhm.
buildings are very important. Now, I don't know what you think, Peter, but to me, I don't really like to use a street that is straightforward.
No. No.
I like to have some angles in
Yeah.
there.
It's well, and that's the same as laying track. It's nice to have track that's got a little bit of character, and it's not just a straight line. So, from kind of the photography side of it, you want those little angles so that you can have different shots from different angles and get a different perspective of what's in the scene.
Well, yes, because then You know, if you look at the layout, well, that's my personal opinion, and that can vary from one individual to another. But if you look at the train, and you can see the train going all around, right? And you can see the train coming in far away and so on. To me, it seems it's too plain as far as scenery is concerned.
Mm-hmm.
Your scenery's got, in my view, to be divided in such a way that you lose kind of the train view itself, or you see some of the train in between the trees or in between the buildings, which kind of add up to the intrigues of the layout.
Well, it
itself.
gives the scene some character.
Oh, absolutely.
You know, and when you're taking photography or video of say your train's moving around the layout, your train can appear, disappear. It gives it a little bit of, it's not a monotonous thing, it's got some life to it.
And especially if you run a train maybe that's a little longer than normal, when they appear and disappear like this, the train doesn't seem as long.
Yeah.
You know, you're not having your locomotive in one town when the caboose, if you use a caboose, is in another town.
That's right. Yeah.
Because you don't see it.
Yeah.
What you see is the scenery.
Yep.
So now it makes it very believable that the train has, in fact, went a long distance in between the two lakes.
That's right.
Right?
Yeah.
More and more people like to run long trains, you know, probably because we are influenced by the way the railroad proceed nowadays.
Yes. Yeah.
Right. So, but when you have done the symmetry of your element buildings on your layout, you have to go back to the draw of how you will place your sceneries as far as the outside now is concerned. Your grass, your mountain, your trees, the animals,
people,
mini print, the peoples, crazy, stupid Joe in here don't mind to go out and going where there's a lot of people on sidewalks and that type of thing and just shooting pictures, you know, of nothing and everything. But really what I'm shooting at is the people, the way they are standing, the way they are walking, the distance in between them and so on, to try to replicate that on the layout.
Yeah.
And you do the same thing.
Yeah.
You know.
Actually, it's funny because I'm watching this video. It's it's well over 3 hours, almost 4 hours. Kootenai Valley cab ride. It's very interesting watching the scenery and the track, the way it curves and stuff and follows the Kootenai and stuff. So it's you look at something in real life like that, and then you try to do those scenes on your layout and make it look realistic with
well, that Kootenai was a CP subdivision.
CP, huh?
Yeah. A CP subdivision in the Selkirks. That must be an interesting video to watch. You know, a lot of people now are doing also mountains and all sort of things. We did like to know from you folks exactly what is your take on the sceneries? What is your takes as far as buildings? And what kind of buildings do you like to model? Do you like to scratch build your building to give them a very personal approach to your layout? Or do you prefer to kit bash an already a kit? Or do you just assemble the kit as is, period? Do you like to have electrical on your building or not? In the comment below, let us know what you're thinking as far as scenery, and how do you personally create a scenery on your layout. I'd like to know, because the more version we got about it, you know, the more we learn.
Yeah.
Because I believe, Peter, we're still learning.
Oh,
We're far from being professional.
oh yeah.
We're just a regular guy,
Yeah.
just like Steve Brown is,
Mhm.
right?
Yep.
Doing some sceneries and doing some buildings and that type of thing. So that's pretty much our take on, for now, on that. We'll show you a little more via video in regards to the Naughty Club scenes, because we'll do some scenery on it, and so you can see what we're talking about as far as the on a video, which is better than a picture. So the next show you will have a little segment on that, and we hope that you will enjoy it.
And one last kind of comment on your Nutty Club scene. The yellow warehouse, that's scratch built.
Yes, no plan, no kit, no nothing on the yellow warehouse.
The bar and grill is scratch built.
Totally. Just piece of styrene in there, and the LEDs and whatnot, and looking into the part box and find a couple little pieces here and there, but the rest is done.
And the Nutty Club is what? Kit bashed?
The Naughty Clubs is kit bash and scratch built. He's got both in there. It started with the Dairy Hill Farms kit from Walter,
Mm-hmm.
where I took 2 walls to make the main building,
Mm-hmm.
and then take the other 2 walls, though I had to trim it because I didn't want to have, because of the space, we had to short up one building. Where's the tower to go to the roof,
Right.
which the actual Naughty Club has on
Yep.
the second building. So I took these 2 walls. So the other 2 walls that were remaining to be built, I built them with brick styrene,
Mm-hmm.
and then do all the decals and bring the foundations further out, because the building seems to be built inside of the foundations
Mhm.
on that specific building, and then create the alley with an open scene.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
the passageway in between the 2 buildings, as
Yeah.
it exists,
Yep.
okay, that is totally scratch built. The stairways for emergency there, on the actual photos, 4 of them. For the model is only 1 that you can see. That one had to be worked on, so that it's shorter,
Mm-hmm.
to accommodate where it is.
Yeah. Yeah.
Electrical coming in from underground, because that area is all underground electrical in Winnipeg. So it's the same thing for the yellow warehouse. Now the yellow warehouse, when you look at the pictures, you just see yellow, but that building has not been weathered right now,
Yeah.
and it's some concrete bars that has to be put in between each stories. The roof scene is not done, and is a ladder missing for the other side to
Yep.
access the roof.
Yep.
So, and an interior scene to be done.
So it's well on its way, but still some detailing to go.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, the Naughty Club was probably pretty near a month to build. The yellow warehouse, I work on it pretty near 3 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
The little bar, the Flying Pig, well, that was a one-day job.
Yeah.
It just went like this. As far as the underpass is concerned, on the scene,
Yeah.
that underpass is a Walter kit. I cut it right in half. So I got another half to do another underpass somewhere else.
Yeah.
And then bring the street. So I had to take the street and kind of lower it, to go underneath of the underpass. The underpass was high enough. You could put a semi underneath, but the idea in there was to create elevations,
The visual effect. Yeah.
yeah, the visual effect, and then I bring the street in, and there, well, you got your lamp posts and so on, and you got, matter of fact, some people will notice you got the pedestrian crossways in there,
Mm-hmm.
and you got the fire hydrant, and many much more stuff will get in there to create the scenes because it won't be bare.
Yeah.
So really, that's what happened with that project.
Yep.
So,
Yeah, it's looking good. Looking good.
You got some coming in pretty soon. You will have to build yourself. Maybe you will get bash. I don't know. You got your hydro plants for your NCDs.
I've got a power plant and an oil storage tank coming in from Otter Valley.
Yeah, but you see, your layout really has kind of expanded too.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
I don't know if it's the pandemic, if the layout caught COVID or not, but
it caught something.
yeah.
This isolation has done something to us. Yeah.
Yeah. So you got a bigger yard now.
Yeah. I've added on a little yard leg to my layout, and so that's on its way, and I'm back over on my lakeside resort and campground. I just come 10 feet of rail fencing around the resort. So that's,
matter of fact, that fence looked good.
So that's all in place. So now I'm moving on to more fencing on other parts of the layout.
So you see, the pandemic and the lockdown serve some purpose.
Yeah.
You know, for the model railroader. Anyway, folks, it was a pleasure again to put this show together for you.
Yes, enjoy your hobby.
Yes, make sure that you subscribe, and click the bell. And please leave us some comments, because we like to know what you think. It doesn't matter if it's positive or negative. Give us your view on what we do and what you like to do. And
what you're working on.
What you're working on, and so on, so that we can make this show your show. And remember, folks, model railroading is fun. So till next time,
enjoy
episode 15. So see you then.